Hey, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and I'm going to try and maybe get a chance to demonstrate a trade here. We just have to see. We're really stuck here going sideways. I really was hoping we'd get another test of the support there and get a chance to go higher, but evidently that's not going to happen, not quite yet anyway. So we could go lower here first. We'll see what happens. I'm going to pause this and see until something sets up here. But I really thought we were about to get a triple test here and a chance to go long, but it's not looking like that just yet. So you got to be real careful right around this support resistance. You want it to, if you're going to go, it's got to show multiple tests of resistance before you go short or multiple tests of support before you go long. And we just haven't got that yet. But let's see what's going to happen right here. As you notice, there's a two-legged correction right here, so that leads me to believe we may get two measured legs up. This is real choppy here. Let's see if we'll get if it'll come back and test this again maybe and give us a second entry or something. The problem is it's a little bit congested here, but you notice it traded out the low side first and failed, and so that'll probably give it momentum to push it higher here now if we're going higher. This could end up going either way. If we go lower, we may make a measured leg down, but let's see what we get here. I'll silence my phone there. I get all these political texts. That's the new thing, I guess. My phone is constantly dinging with on money or polls or something, some kind of political poll, and I'm just going to silence my phone and turn it off so it quits dinging in the background. All right, I'd love to see this break lower and then turn up. There it is. If it breaks back above this, that would be a second entry long. Let's see what it does here. I'll go ahead and put my order in there. Just in case. If this triggers a second entry here, if this closes lower and triggers a second entry down here, we at least want it to close inside this range. Yeah, I'm not too crazy about it now. It looks like the range could be slightly lower. If that triggers, I'm going to go with it. That's a second entry long. I believe this support is slightly lower. All right, our stop turned out perfect spot. I believe that's one tick below. Yep. All right, that was the second entry long, and we basically got another trend here. And we had a break and a new low, and this is second entry, a higher low. Decent signal bar. We should at least get our scalp out of this, I would think. May not get a runner, but my target, I'm thinking we're measured. If we get a measured move, we may only make a new high here. All right, we're banging off our order there. Tick on through there. There we go. All right, we got our scalp. We moved to break even. And we'll see if we can get our runner here. Be 3 points on the runner if we get it. We've already got 15 points in the bank. So that's $750 minus our commissions. And if we get this scalp, we'll get another 15 points. So it'll be a $1,500 trade. They had a little gap there. Hopefully they were just trying to fill that little gap between the two bars. Come on, a couple more ticks. There we go. All right. That was turned out to be a good trade. It was a little riskier than I liked, I'll have to admit, because we went long into that resistance right there. But you can see how many times we tried to go lower. You know, there was a really good chance we were going to go higher here. And I really think that the support has moved down a little bit. I think it's more along right there. And you can see where it was acting as resistance across here, and then it's suddenly acting as support. We pushed through it a couple of times. I'm curious to see if we're going to get a measured move here, because we had this first leg up and there's a two-legged correction there, and we started another leg up. Of course, you got your break and second entry long, $1,500 trade, and you saw it probably only took 4 or 5 minutes tops. We were out of the scalp pretty quickly, and it took a few minutes on the runner. But that shows you, the runners can really change your math. 15 points on, that was a small runner. I had 5 more contracts left, so I had 15 points on that 3-point runner. And you think about how many losers 15 points, that takes, that covers some losers there, some small losers. So the runners can really help. But if you're still learning, right now just concentrate on the scalping and trying to get profitable, just scalping a contract or two or whatever. My formula is 80-20 on the scalping runner. So I'm going to scalp out 80% of my contracts, and I'm going to let 20% of them run. And so you need to be able to trade at least 5 contracts to do that. So if you're trading less than contracts, your formula is getting way off of 80-20, so I would say a minimum you need to be able to trade 3 contracts, because you need to get more winners. So in other words, if you have a loser with 2 contracts, and then you have a winner and you're doing the scalp and running, but you only get the scalp and you don't get the run, then you didn't make up your loser, in other words. So you need that formula there to really make the numbers better. If you're a really good scalper, it doesn't matter. But most new traders, it's going to be a while before they're hitting 85, 90% wins. And so you need to have that good ratio there. So when you're first learning, try to do the scalp only. Trade it until you can get above, till you can probably comfortably get to 5 contracts. And it takes longer to get to 5 contracts than you think, because every time, and that's the other key, I want to say this, the idea is not to take more trades to make more money. When you get, our process here is we're going to take 1 to 3 trades every day, but we're going to take sure things. We want to take the best trades, sure things. Was this a sure thing here? It was pretty good odds that prices were going higher, but it probably wasn't a sure thing. It was probably just barely a blue trade. But when you're first learning and you're trying to get experience, I mean, I've had enough experience to see this happen. I kind of had a good idea I'd get at least a scalp out of that. I may not have got my runner, but I knew I'd probably get a scalp out of it. But we got them both. And price action played out. You can see there's a channel working up here. You get a break, first entry, second entry, and it ran straight and made a new high. And now it seems to be turning down again. So will it come back and test this a few more times before it goes higher, or will we turn down now? We certainly didn't get a measured move up. So if it turns down here now, we're probably going to go much lower. My guess is we'll make a measured move down to here, because when you come up short on these measured moves, it usually will move further in the other direction. You can see it looks like it's still testing the support here. We could still go higher, or we could still chop sideways. The price action plays out. The key is being patient and not pressing a trade. I probably pressed this one a little bit, but I want to demonstrate a trade, so I don't want to sit here all day trying to find one. So I pressed this one a little bit, but I had, my experience tells me we were going to at least make a new high here and probably try to make a measured move. And we tried it, but it worked out. Not only did I get my scalp, I got a small runner. And that's all I was trying to do, was get that secondary runner there. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this live trade. You saw exactly how I did it. Once the trade triggers, it's all automatic unless I move unless I might have to move my safety stop. I'll usually start it out at 4 points or something, like 3 points below, and then I'll adjust it up. And then my runner, I usually have it at 3 points. And if I think I can get more, I'll move it up. Or if I want to, I can manage that once the trade's going. If I get to that point, I'll move it out of the way for sure. And you don't want to move your orders any more than you have to, because every time you move your order, you get thrown to the back of the queue. In other words, first in, the first contracts there are the first in, and they're the first out. First in, first out is the way this market works. So you want to get in line in the queue early. So that's the reason I like the automated strategy too, because it automatically throws your other orders in there and gets them in there fast. You don't have to manually do everything. And it gets you early in the queue. And that can be important, because if it was hard to tell, it ended up ticking through, but I think I got filled on my limit order on my runners without it ticking through. I think it bumped it a few times and filled it, and then later ticked through. So that's the beauty of being early in the queue. Sometimes it won't tick through and you'll still get filled because you were there early, and the few orders that did get filled, you were one of them. So normally, always count on having prices having to tick through a limit order to get filled, because usually they have to. But you'd be surprised. I mean, a bunch of times I'll get filled on a limit order without it ticking through because I'm early in the queue. So, and if you're there and then you move your order and move it back, then you got moved back to the back of the queue. So don't move your orders or monkey with them any more than you have to. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, it looks like we're trying to go lower here. This market this is kind of what we may be in is another range here. It looks like there might be a secondary. There's a lot of resistance right across there, and Good bit of support right across here. So we might be in a secondary little range here. Let's just mark it and see for now. If it doesn't end up holding, turning out to be a range here, we'll move it. But a lot of times that'll happen. You'll get after the 830, you'll get a secondary range or a tighter range, or it might be lower or higher. But always draw your trends and your trend channels and put them on here. Because it makes it easier to see. But yeah, that was perfect price action. We had a trend up with the break and 2 legs down, which usually is the center of the pattern. And then we had our retest here. Normally I don't draw this channel because it usually will run up pretty quick in a couple of legs and turn back down. But this one we got another channel, which is what you would expect. You had one trend up with a 2-legged correction, so then you're going to get another trend up. And you see it played out. There it is. You got your break, second entry long, it runs to a new high, and now we're running down. It's perfect price action. Exactly how we teach it, exactly how we tell you what will probably happen. And nothing's 100%, nothing's written in stone, but these rules that we have and the way we teach it, they're going to happen 90%, 95% of the time. But nothing's 100% in trading. So, but 90 to 95% is enough to give us an edge that if we stick to the rules, we're going to make money. Keep that in mind. But be patient. Wait on the best setups and follow the rules. All right. I hope you enjoyed that trade. I try to do these occasionally. I'd like to do more of them, but it takes a lot of time to do these videos and then process them and then upload them. And, I tell people my daily YouTube follow-up at the end of the day always takes, it takes longer than you think it is. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.